So it's guide time once again on the channel, but rather than a character guide, we've actually got a guide for the new raid that's out in Marvel's Avengers. Now, before I do go in and we start breaking all this down, big thanks to Barrack, Crispin, T-White Ninja and Diesel who have helped out a ton with this. Now, the video in question, I'm going to break it into 8 different sections because there are 8 distinct parts to the raid. I'll put timestamps to each of those sections. When we get to the more puzzle orientated sections, I've actually made some infographics as well that will hopefully help explain how you actually complete the puzzle. Those infographics will be available on my Discord as always. 3 little tips I'll give before we go in and we do start actually breaking it down. If you've got some flying heroes, this can really help out in this stage. Isn't mandatory, but it can help out. Vibranium and Sonic status will help out once again, not mandatory, but it can make things a bit easier and quicker. And finally, I'll say that you will need a coordinated group with mics. I don't think you can actually pug this and go in and play it without a group with mics. It would be an absolute nightmare to do that. But with that out of the way, let's jump in. Let's start off with the first stage, and this is the mini boss. So you'll come across this first boss probably about 5-10 minutes into the raid. It depends how quickly your team's actually getting through it. It's a really simple enemy. It does have various different phases in that when you do so much damage it will disappear, it will call in various smaller robots that you'll need to destroy, and then once you've defeated them it will come back down again. The only real tip I would give for this particular one is if you're playing it in a random group and you find your entire team actually wipes at this first section, that would be a real bad omen, and if that actually happens then I would probably just quit out and get another team, because if you can't beat this boss nice and easy, you're not going to stand a chance for the rest of the raid. But that is the mini boss. Let's jump on to the second section, and this is the first puzzle we come across. So this first puzzle then really is nice and simple. It's a great way to easing your team into working together. Now, I do have an infographic that I'll bring up in a moment and it'll hopefully make a lot more sense, but just a quick overview of what you're looking to do here. You have 3 different floor panels. You want to send out a hero to each of those panels. Once they're actually captured, there's a central area within the raid that your 4th player will be on, taking out trash enemies, but that central area will actually become enabled so you can actually activate switches. That will bring up a shield, and what that will do in turn is it will actually reflect the beam that Klaw fires out. You need to do this 3 times, and once you've done that the barrier will actually drop. Now let's actually bring up an infographic just so we can explain it and it will hopefully make a bit more sense. So the first thing you want to do with this puzzle is you want to split everyone up. You have 3 heroes which will actually capture the floor panels, and then you have a 4th hero which will stay near the main objective. Now that 4th hero is exceptionally important. You want someone that can take out trash mobs pretty quick, and you also want a character that potentially won't be staggered when they're activating switches. That could be Hulk with Bone Shaker, it could be Iron Man and Hulkbuster, or it could be Widow and Invisibility. There's quite a few other options that are available as well. But the way this will actually work, so you have your 4th hero, they'll always stay on D, they'll take out trash as quick as they can. You will then have heroes on A, B and C. These are capture points. Now when you first go on them they'll be blue. You'll have a little circle that starts to fill up. When it's filled up, and it has to be all 3 that are filled up at the same time, then what happens is they'll actually turn to purple. Now at that point the heroes that captured these points want to quickly run to D. They'll help the character that's been sitting on D the entire time to press switches 1, 2 and 3. You must press those switches quickly. If you don't press them quick enough, then you won't activate a shield that comes up. That shield will actually reflect Klaw's beam and it stops you from getting one-shotted from it as well. If you don't get it up quick enough, you won't wipe, but you'll need to find a hiding spot. It's generally spots that are in the shadows or behind scenery, are ones that will actually protect you from Klaw's beam. If you do get it correct, then what you need to do is the beam will be reflected, and then you'll have your characters go back to A, B and C. Your character on D will stay there. They'll continue to take out trash mobs, and then you simply just repeat the process 2 more times. So you'll capture A, B and C, they'll turn purple, and then everyone pulls to D, gets within the shield, presses the switches, and yeah, that's it. It's a really nice simple puzzle to start off with. Now let's jump in and let's talk about the door puzzle next. This is one where it gets a lot more complicated. So once you've lowered the sonic barriers, you'll then get this cutscene of Giant Klaw. He really does look pretty amazing. Now from this point onwards, There will be various different times within the raid you'll see the screen start to light up red. It means he's about to fire off one of his huge one-shot attacks, so you want to hide behind scenery so you don't get taken out by that. Also, after the sonic barrier, you're in a corridor where you can actually go left or right. Now, you'll have to do puzzles at both sides, but just for the purpose of this video, we're going to go right first. This is the door puzzle. This is one that's really pretty hard to explain, but I made an infographic, so when you see the visuals of it, hopefully it will make a lot more sense. But it's essentially all about standing on floor switches, which will open doors, and then you want to use your characters to leapfrog others and keep certain doors open so that other characters can come through and to in turn open further doors. You will notice there's various different symbols next to the doors. That doesn't actually mean anything, so don't let that distract you or confuse you at all. But let's actually bring up the infographic where this will hopefully make a lot more sense. So for this section I've actually got two different infographics because the puzzle's essentially split into two. You've got the top area, which is near enough a tutorial. It's a simpler version of the more complex puzzle that comes once you get to the lower section of this particular map. Now on it we've got A and B, that's the doors you can open, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 and 4, that's the various different switches you can stand on. Now one of the most important things I'll tell you, and this really helps you understand how this works, is that if you're standing on a switch that's directly before or after a door, so for instance if we look at door number A, if a hero stands on 1 or 2, that will keep that door open. Doesn't have to be both of them at the same time, it could be either or, but that's one of the most basic things to understand about this, and it makes the puzzle a lot simpler once you figure this out. But we've got a breakdown on the right hand side here. The way I've colour coded this, if something is highlighted in green, that means you're standing on that particular switch, and if the door's highlighted in green, it means that door will be open as well. So what you want to do at the start here is you want to use a hero to go on switch number 1, that will open door number A. You then use switches 2 and 3, and that will keep open doors A and B. You then have your final 3 character, they'll go all the way to the end, they'll go into switch number 4, and that will keep all the doors open. So at this point you've got a hero on all the switches and you've got all the doors open as well, so you need to start bringing your heroes from the back forward. So what you'll do, the hero on number 1, they go all the way through to the end, and then you've got the heroes on 2 and 3, they go all the way through to the end, and then that's it, that's the first section done. Nice and simple, really hard to explain, but it is nice and simple, and hopefully the infographic does help with it. Let's now jump on to the second section. So this is once everyone's through this first part of the puzzle, you head down to the bottom floor. It's the same puzzle you're going to do, but it's a bit longer, which makes it a little bit more complex. So you can see it's the same basic idea here, but it just takes a little bit longer to do. Now, it maybe does look a little bit overwhelming, but what I'll say is when you're actually doing it, if you keep a copy of this infographic, again it's on my Discord, or just take a screenshot from this video, just break it down into one section at a time. Don't look at all of them in panic, do one section at a time. So what you want to do first is you'll stand on switch number 1 to open door A. You then use switches 2 and 3 to open doors A and B. The hero that's on switch number 1, they want to come through into that main area where the rest of the heroes are. From that point you'll use switches 2, 3, 4 and 5, and that will open doors A, B and C for you. You then have the hero on switch number 3, they'll move to number 6. The hero on switch number 5 moves to 7, and then the hero on 2 moves to 8. From that point you can start to get the remaining heroes that are lagging behind all the way through to the end of the puzzle. So what you want to do, the hero on switch number 4, they move all the way to the end. The hero on switch number 6 moves to the end, then the hero on 7 moves to the end. At that point everyone is through. Once again, it probably sounds like quite a lot, but just do it one section at a time using this infographic and it will make it nice and simple. Now once all 4 heroes are through, there's various enemies you need to take out. Once you've taken them out, there's 4 switches you press, just each of your heroes press one at a time, and then that'll call in a lift, and when you get in that lift we've then got the next puzzle coming up. So this next puzzle is the Vibranium Forge. It's exceptionally simple. The gameplay that I have for it, the run was done in round about a minute or two. It really is that easy. So no infographic for it at the moment, but if you would like to see one, do let me know. Now, the actual puzzle room is split into 3 different sections in regards to where you want to place your heroes. So we'll start off with the bottom first, that's the most important one. So down the bottom there is a capture point. You want to send a tanky hero down here because they'll have to hold their ground and stay on the capture point, and there'll be a lot of enemies actually attacking them. When they're in that capture point for long enough, what will happen is a symbol will actually show up. It's 1 out of 5 different symbols that can show up. You'll need to discuss with your raid team what you actually want to call the symbols. Most of them have got an obvious look, such as you've got the number 4, you've got arrows pointing down and so on. But what will happen, you've captured that bottom point, you'll then call out the symbol. Now up the top you'll have 1 hero up there as well, and you'll have various different batteries with the symbols above them. So what happens is the hero up there will actually attack the symbol that matches the one that was called out a second ago. That will charge the battery, and then in the middle of the actual puzzle, I'll highlight it this now, then you'll have corrupted vibranium that will come out. Now you've got 2 remaining heroes we've not talked about yet, so what they'll be doing is preferably they will be flyer heroes, or they'll be agile ones. And what they'll do is when the corrupted vibranium comes out after the battery is charged, they need to destroy that quickly. If you don't destroy it quick enough, it will go back in again. And in this particular raid you actually get a 10-minute timer, although again, given the fact that this was able to be done in round about a minute or so, the 10-minute timer shouldn't be a problem at all. But what happens, you'll destroy the corrupted vibranium, the container that was holding it will go back in and it will change to blue rather than red, and then it's just a case of simply repeating that 4 more times, and then that'll be that puzzle done. So yeah, nice and simple, but once again, if you want an infographic for it for any reason, then do let me know in the comments below and I can look to do that. But let's jump on to the next part now. So once you finish that last puzzle, what will happen is you'll be teleported back to the crossroads where you got to choose to go left or right in the mines. So we've completed right, so in this instance we'll now want to go left, and the puzzle you have will be a platform based puzzle. If you have 4 flying characters, just make a beeline for the elevator and just fly straight past this. It really is that easy. If you've got 1 flying character, you can still bypass it as well. What you would do is you would have that flying character that goes straight towards the elevator, have the 3 remaining characters wipe, so you'll have Klaw firing off his huge laser beam. Just make sure they don't actually dodge that. It will take them a minute until they're actually out of the game because they've not been revived, and then a minute or so after that, what happens is they'll actually spawn on the flying character that's right next to the elevator, so that allows you to completely bypass the puzzle section. If you don't want to do that, or if you don't have any flying characters at all, then I've got another infographic that breaks down how you actually do it. So let's check that out. So this puzzle is actually quite similar to the doors and switches puzzle from earlier on, but I would say it's not as complex, so we can get through it nice and quick. Now, all 4 of your heroes will start off in platform number A. Now, when you capture that particular platform, what will happen is it will create an additional platform that allows 1 hero to go to switch number 1. When that hero is standing on switch number 1, it will create a wall running platform that allows your remaining heroes to go directly from A to B. At that point, you want the hero on switch number 1 to catch up with the heroes on B. So the way we're sitting at the moment, we've got all 4 heroes on B. From there, send 1 hero to C and 1 hero to D, keeping 2 remaining heroes on B. Once C and D have been captured, what happens is you get direct platforms once again that allow your 2 remaining heroes on B to go direct to switch number 2. Once switch number 2 is pressed, that then allows your heroes on C and D to catch up, and at that point you'll have all 4 of your heroes next to the elevator. There'll be various enemies you need to take out, nice and easy. Once you've taken them out, there's 4 switches, there's 2 either side of the elevator. Just make sure you press them at the same time, and that's us done. We're now on to the next puzzle. So this next stage here is actually a mixture of attacking and defending at the same time. Now I'm just going to show gameplay, no infographic for this one. I feel that the gameplay is the best way to actually show off how you do it for this particular one. So as mentioned, it's split into attack and defence. Now the defence aspect comes from the fact you have 6 generators around Shuri's chamber. You've got 3 up the top level and 3 down the bottom. Now you want to assign a hero to the top and a hero to the bottom to actually defend these generators. So they'll take out any enemies and they'll destroy any of the smaller spires of vibranium that will actually appear. Whilst they're doing that, you've got heroes 3 and 4. This will be your attack team. So what you'll do is you'll have hero number 3 that will go into one of the control points. That will open a door to outside. Now hero number 4, who you want to be a mobile hero, they will head outside and you want them to search around. They will find a buff called the anti-metal buff out there. You really can't miss it at all. I don't have it in this gameplay footage, but when you see it, you know that is what you're looking for. When you have that buff that lasts for 90 seconds, you want to get that hero back inside as soon as you can. Have all 4 heroes group up. Now what happens is the anti-metal buff can be used by all 4 heroes. This buff allows you to do damage to the various different vibranium spires that are within the stage. There's around about 5 of them, I believe, that you need to actually destroy. When you're attacking them with the anti-metal buff, their health will go down, but it will slowly regenerate. Now what you want to do, you want to get as many spires on low health as you can for the end of the anti-metal buff actually wearing off, because when that wears off, Shuri will cast a white noise machine which will destroy any vibranium spires that are on low health. So this, I imagine it's going to take about 2 rotations of doing this. It'd be incredibly hard to get all of the spires in just 1 rotation, but it's just the same idea. If you don't get them all in one go, then same idea, send 1 and 2 down to defend the generators and take out any enemies. 3 holds a control point and 4 will go outside to get the anti-metal buff. Now once you've done that, because we've now completed the left and right path, we'll actually be on to the first proper encounter with Klaw. So this first encounter with Klaw really is nice and simple, so there's no need for an infographic at all. There's 3 elements to this. The first is Savivari. He's the mystique that will actually join you during this fight, and he'll charge up a skill that can stun Klaw. You'll see a little circle above his head as it's actually charging up. This will charge as time passes, but in a second we'll actually talk about how you can get it to charge faster. Once it is fully charged, it'll stun Klaw and knock him over, allowing you to get close to him to do damage. You've got a short window here, so you want to do as much damage as quickly as you can. You'll probably get about half of his health bar down during this first phase. The second element in the fight, and this is one that will help you stun Klaw quicker and also damage him quicker during the damage phase. It's a large summoning circle you've got in the middle. Now you don't need to stay within this during the fight, but if you defeat the large red vibranium infused enemies within this circle, you actually get a damage buff that lasts for 45 seconds, and it will charge Savivari up quicker as well. So you'll be able to stun Klaw quicker and you'll be able to do more damage when he's stunned as well. So it's really important you defeat enemies within this summoning circle. The final mechanic for this fight is the various different blue vibranium pillars you'll see dotted throughout the map. Now when the screen flashes red and Klaw's about to do his one-shot attack, you need to stand behind one of these pillars. You'll see a shadow coming off it. Stand within that shadow. When he does his one-shot attack, he won't take any damage at all. Now as the fight actually goes on, these pillars will start to become corrupted and they will turn red. At that point they will no longer protect you from the one-shot attack he does, even if you are standing behind it. So in essence, what you need to do, you need to finish this fight as quickly as you can, because if you get to a point where all the pillars have been corrupted, there's nowhere to hide. He'll do a one-shot attack and he'll take out your entire team. Now in total it should only take about 2 rotations of actually stunning him to get his health bar completely down to beat him, and once you beat him, we're then on to the second part of the fight. So this final fight here is actually relatively simple. It just takes a fair amount of time because there's 4 different phases. So what I'm about to explain you need to repeat 4 times here. It's at 25% of his health each of the actual phases repeat. Now the first one that you can see at the moment, when he's large, what he'll do is he'll fire off 2 beam attacks. One of them's bugged and you can't actually see it. They're both one-shot attacks. So what you want to do is you want to split up your team over the 3 different platforms that are available. That way if someone gets one shot, the other members of your team can actually get that particular player up. Now after he's done those 2 attacks, he'll then do a third attack, and it's where he slams down his fist into the central platform. So after the 2 beam attacks, make sure you're avoiding the central platform and you're on the left or the right one. Now once that phase is actually completed, then what will happen is he'll get smaller and he'll come down to one of the platforms where you can actually fight him. You won't be doing anything to his health bar, but you'll notice just below his health bar there's actually a little white bar that fills up. That's his stun meter. You want to specifically do attacks that will stun him during this stage. When he's actually stunned, what will happen is the red glow that's around the area will actually clear. The doors on the left and right platforms will actually open. That allows one hero, preferably a tanky hero because they're going to be fighting on their own, but that allows that one hero into the back area where they can actually take over a control point, and when they're standing on that control point they'll get the anti-metal buff. That's the one we used earlier on with Shuri. That buff will extend to the players that are outside fighting the smaller version of Klaw. Now, as his health goes down, when you get down to 75% health, the same process will repeat once more. So he'll get large, you need to split up over the platforms, he'll do the 2 beam attacks, he'll do the attack in the middle, and then he'll come down and he'll be smaller, and you will need to actually stun him again. So that's it really. It is a relatively simple fight, but it's just one that does take a fair amount of time. One additional thing I'll mention, I don't have any footage of it or anything like that at all, but when you're actually fighting them and during the damage stage, you will get some portals that will appear. If you don't destroy these quick enough, then you'll get echoes that will come through, and they can certainly make it a lot harder. So when these portals actually appear, make sure to destroy them as quick as you can. Finishing up, I actually made an infographic for this as well, so I'll very quickly show it off, but really I've ran over all the mechanics of the fight here already. So I've got the breakdown on the right hand side here, but I'm not going to go through it because I just went through a breakdown a moment ago, but you can see pretty simple layout here, but it does a job for letting you know. So you've got your 3 platforms A, B and C, you've got your doors 1 and 2, they will open after you stun them, and then you've got D where you have one player that will have that anti-metal buff. But that is it, that's everything you need to know to complete the new raid that's out for Marvel's Avengers. If you've got any additional tips, then do let me know in the comments below. If this video has been helpful, take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button. And thanks for tuning in for this, stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon.